Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So today we are continuing with the reading of Gopala Campu by Srila Jiva Gosvami and translated into English by His Holiness Bhanu Swami Maharaj. This will be explained later. Moreover, in the sky, the constellations show their best aspects. The ocean, the friend of the clouds, roared. As one longs for the autumn season during the monsoon period, on that day, the splendor of the autumn also appeared. Moreover, the jasmine blossomed with the spring creeper flowers. The ketaki flowers of summer blossomed with the ketaki flowers of spring. The lotuses blossomed with the this is only a slight indication of the events that occurred when Krishna was born. The authorities do not consider this so remarkable because Krishna, the ocean of surprises, was born. Those that would see his face developed great effulgence. His face was like the king of blue lotuses. His eyes were like the lords of central lotus petals surrounded by tiny bees. His nose was like a sesame flower, a bold tinge like a blue cloud. His lips were red like the hibiscus, more attractive than the bimba fruit or the bandhuka flower. His ears were black like the shama creeper. His forearms were the foremost branches of the tamala tree, endowed with new buds. His chest marked with the Srivatsa and the line of Lakshmi was like the chief of clouds with stationary lightning turning to the right. His face surpasses the Mahapadma. His nose surpasses the Makara. His smile surpasses the Kunda flower. His throat surpasses the conch. His feet surpass the turtle's back. His complexion surpasses a sapphire. And all his limbs surpass the Karva Nidhi. What more can be said? He surpasses Narayana. It's not surprising that all the 9 treasures were present at once, since they took birth in Raja to be with Krishna. I would like to mention here the 9 treasures. The 9 treasures of Kuvera are Mahapadma, Padma, Makara, Kurma, Nanda, Neela, Mukunda, Shanka, and Karva. There was something special about his birth. Taking an infant's body in order to act favorable to him and show compassion, Maya took birth from Yashoda as his younger sister, putting Krishna, who surpasses all, first. What Snigdha was thinking is here proved. Bhagavatam says the child Yogamaya, the younger sister of Lord Vishnu, slipped upward from Kamsa's hands and appeared in the sky as Devi, the goddess Durga, with 8 arms, completely equipped with weapons. 4.9. Nanda Maharaja was naturally very magnanimous, and when Lord Krishna appeared as his son, Atmaja, he was overwhelmed by jubilation. Therefore, after bathing and purifying himself and dressing himself properly, he invited Brahmanas who knew how to recite Vedic mantras, SB 10.5.1. By using the word Atmaja or son, it is shown that Krishna was Nanda's son. I ask about this after considering the case clearly, since many people have doubts. He spoke aloud. Oh, this is most astonishing. How can we understand that he was also the son of Vasudeva and Devaki? When his brother said this, Madhukanta thought to himself, restraining his speech, Narada has told us both about this with great bliss. If you two go to beautiful Vraja, full of great prema, and you speak, you should hide the great powers of Krishna. Considering the words of famous Garga, I will speak. This has been heard already by Narada, therefore it will not be astonishing to them. He spoke aloud. If I reveal the secret about Krishna in the assembly, Narada will tolerate that I have disobeyed his order. The inhabitants have a special perfection, for there's nothing except Krishna in their hearts. He alone is present in their affectionate hearts. Though he is reflected in their hearts, he cannot be readily seen. He only reveals himself when there is full love. Affection as parents is the cause of his appearance as the son. Though he may appear as a son by other emotions, the main cause of his appearance is his affection. By prema, he makes his appearance. Since this is so, he appears in every kalpa during the life of Brahma to any persons among the inhabitants of Braja, from the king to the salaried man. Since this is so, he appears in every kalpa during the life of Brahma to any persons among the inhabitants of Braja, from the king to the salaried man, who have extraordinary pure love as parents, honoring the debt of their accumulated prema. Wanting to clear up the debt, but thinking he can never do so, he appears as their son, but others never for even a second. Thus Brahma has said, my mind becomes bewildered just trying to think of what reward other than you could be found anywhere. You are the embodiment of all benedictions, which you bestow upon these residents of the coward community of Vrindavana. You have already arranged to give yourself to Putana and her family members in exchange for her disguising herself as a devotee. So what's left for you to give these devotees of Vrindavana, whose homes, wealth, friends, dear relations, bodies, and children, and very lives and hearts are all dedicated only to you? SB 10.14.35. Narayana also stated the same previously in verse 64. Garga said, Tasman Nandatmajo Yamte Narayana Samo Gunai Shriya Kirtyanubhavena Gopayasya Samahita. In conclusion, therefore, Narayana also stated the same previously in verse 64. Garga said, Tasmajo Yam te Narayana samo gunai Shriya Kirtyanubhavena Gopayasva Samahita. In conclusion, therefore, O Nanda Maharaja, this child of yours is as good as Narayana. In his transcendental qualities, opulence, name, fame, and influence is exactly like Narayana. You should all raise this child very carefully and cautiously. SB 10.8.19. According to this, he will infer as follows. Yogamaya of the Lord, worshipped by Nanda, who had no other interest than Krishna, is revealed in the scriptures. She is the Lord's Swarupa Shakti, having the ability to do the impossible. The Lord gave Yogamaya, and she arranged Krishna as your son. Though she does not pay attention when Krishna in Braja is agitated by his devotees' affection, Krishna as her invisibly assists in the pastimes at all times, acting favorably to him. As Yoga Maya cooperates with Krishna, so Maya in the material world cooperates with him. O Nanda, though Krishna is Yoga Maya for his pastimes, You should protect Krishna, to whom your worshipable Narayana has given power by all your powers. This is what Garga has clearly said. For this son of yours, there are many forms and names according to his transcendental qualities and activities. These are known to me, but people in general do not understand them. SB 10.8.15. He has many forms because, becoming absorbed in the various moods of worship of his devotees, Krishna, always existing, takes forms according to the desire of his devotee and appears and disappears one or many times, close or distant from them. The four-armed form, which appeared internally to Vasudeva and Devaki, later appeared externally. The cause of the fruit can be inferred from the fruit. Following this logic, Krishna appeared always in a two-armed form to Nanda and Yashoda. Garga said, for many reasons, this beautiful son of yours sometimes appeared previously as the son of Vasudeva. Those who are learned sometimes call this child Vasudeva. SB 10.8.14. Taking the words of austere Garga, I will now explain the meaning. When Devaki desired, taking the words of austere Garga, I will now explain the meaning. When Devaki desired that Krishna cover his four-armed form out of fear of cruel Kamsa, and Krishna appeared in a two-armed form at that time. Krishna had already appeared with two arms within Yashoda along with Yogamaya. That two-armed form came to Devaki and merged the four-armed form into itself. That two-armed form came to Devaki and merged the four-armed form into itself. Yogamaya remained in Yashoda's womb and in a formless feature became Krishna's carrier. Just as a wind moves a blue lotus, that formless Yogamaya took Yashoda's son to Mathura while no one could see, where he appeared and subsumed the four-armed form. Yogamaya, by boldly taking Krishna to Mathura, made Yashoda completely bewildered. At the time of birth, Yogamaya, situated in Yashoda's womb, made Yashoda faint from bearing the child. Yogamaya then appeared externally on the bed and slept there. That same Yogamaya had previously taken Balarama from Devaki's womb and placed him in Rohini's womb, invisible to all. What Snigdakanta thought internally was true. That's explained. The Lord speaks to Maya. O all auspicious Yogamaya, I shall then appear with my full 6 opulences, Amsha Bhagena, as the son of Devaki, and you will appear as the daughter of Mother Yashoda. O all auspicious Yogamaya, I shall then appear with my full 6 opulences as the son of Devaki, and you will appear as the daughter of Mother Yashoda, the queen of Maharaja Nanda, SB 10.2.9. Brahma speaks to the Devatas. The potency of the Lord, known as Vishnu Maya, who is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will also appear with Lord Krishna. This potency, acting in different capacities, captivates all the worlds, both material and spiritual. At the request of a master, she will appear with her At the request of a master, she will appear with her different potencies in order to execute the work of the Lord. Karya Arte. The word Amsha Bhagena means the four-armed form. Karyarte means that she will execute the work of the Lord, like bewildering Yashoda and others by appearing in this world with his expanded form, which would merge into with his two-armed form places in the Bhagavatam also. The wise give this explanation. They were the primeval supreme personalities, the masters and original causes of universes, who had for the welfare of the earth now descended to earth in they were the primeval supreme personalities, the masters and original causes of the universes, who had for the welfare of the earth now descended as Keshava and Balarama, along with their expansions. Swamshena, SB 10.38.32. Swamshena means with different forms. Swamshena means with different forms. Yogamaya's revelations about Krishna related to Yashoda have been explained. They reach the conclusion through scriptural proof. The manifestations of Krishna's energies follow the desires of his dear devotees. Yogamaya's revelations about Krishna related to Yashoda have been explained. They reach the conclusion through scriptural proof. The manifestations of Krishna's energy follow the desires of his dear devotees rather than acting independently. Filled with amazement, everyone said, "Everything may be as you explained, but what happened next?" Madhukanta said, "According to the instructions of the four-armed form revealed by Yogamaya, Vasudeva took the two-armed child out of fear of the demons. While all were sleeping, to Nanda's house and placed the child with Yashoda's female child. According to Krishna's instructions, Vasudeva did not reveal that the Lord with four forms had appeared in his house. There was some doubt about the child who took birth as a boy. No one should know that a son with two arms had been born. Therefore, he brought the female child back as a replacement. Vasudeva, who did so, investigate this incident. Also, Vasudeva also did not investigate this. Snigdakanta said, "There is no harm if he did not investigate further, but he exchanged the baby for the girl and took her away." But how could Nanda call that boy his own child? The scriptures also say that Krishna is the son of Nanda, indicating that he was actually Nanda's son. Then, while smiling, he spoke. The name indicates that there's Nanda's. Smiling, he again spoke. "Please describe how Vasudeva took Nanda's son." Madhukanta said, "The shackles fell from his feet. Everyone was fast asleep. The locked doors opened. Ananta was his umbrella. Yamuna river became agitated. The path to Nanda's house was free of obstacles. Who made all these arrangements for Vasudeva?" Snigdakanta said, "This was all the good fortune of Nanda." The assembly heard the topics being described in detail. Net of topics concerning Krishna described by Madhukanta and Snigdakanta as if Madhukanta again spoke. When Vasudeva, taking the fixed jewel of Krishna, went to Nanda's house and Maya spread her illusion thickly everywhere, Yashoda saw the son who had been brought as her own. Vishnu Purana says, Dadrishecha Prabudhaya Prabudhasa Yoshada Jatam Atmajam Nilopatla Nilotpala Dalashyamam Tato Taitam Mudam. Yeah. Waking up, Yashoda saw the newborn child dark like a blue lotus and seeking and became joyful. Vishnu Purana 5.5.22. Waking up, Yashoda saw the newborn child dark like a blue lotus and became joyful. Vishnu Purana 2.5.9. The body of the child was more resplendent than a shining sapphire. The moon of his face conquered the moon. His eyes were just like most astonishing lotuses. His hands were more splendorous than the new leaves. Yes, the body of the child was more resplendent than a shining sapphire. The moon of his face conquered the moon. His eyes were like most astonishing lotuses. His hands were more splendorous than the new leaves on the branches of a heavenly desired tree. Moving his hands and feet slightly, he cried out sweetly, bewildering the whole universe. When she saw this beautiful child, Yashoda became stunned like a painted picture. He was a king of shining darkness, an expansive ocean of beauty. He was the good fortune for all perception of beauty. He was the Bharat Muni of all attractive pastimes. When Yashoda of a child in this way, the child agreed by crying, which seemed to say, yes, yes. Though Yashoda saw her newly born son, she was unable to call her friends, what to speak of moving around. Her eyes and throat were covered in tears and her body was stunned. Her body again agitated because of her desire to care for the child. When Yogamaya left Vraja for Mathura, Vasudeva took her. What to speak of moving around. Her eyes and throat were covered in tears and her body was stunned. Her body was agitated because of her desire to care for the child. When Yogamaya left Braja for Mathura, when Vasudeva took her, Braja became free of illusion. When did it happen? It happened when the Supreme Lord appeared in Braja. As the moon makes lotuses situated far away blossom, the of people far away blossom with joy. Not only did the child appear on the bed of his mother, but appeared in another form in the pure hearts of persons having affection. When the child appeared in the hearts of women situated at a distance, they quickly came like Chataki birds attracted to a cloud appearing in the sky. As Chakora birds look at the moon from all sides, Rohini and other women gathered there. Considering the Yashoda who gazed at a child with smiling eyes in a stunned state to be a suitable mother, the woman then gazed at the child. Looking at the dark child with eyes and mind, they began to wonder about him. This was appropriate, for such a person could be attained by chance very rarely. But at first, the child did not allow the mind to perceive him properly. Is that a fresh garland of blue lotuses? Is it a huge sapphire? Is it a Vaidurya gem which can never be known? When we look at this child, all the senses stop functioning and I see only that object. The child is made of a cloud, the color of a tamala leaf, fragrant with musk. The child is decorated with beauty that melts the mind. He is anointed of his body, is bathed by the nectar flowing from his face, is perfumed with the auspicious beauty of sandalwood pulp and camphor of his mother's glance, is ornamented with the natural qualities of his body. Speculating about the child in this way, the woman gathered together and again looked at the child, who was as tender as musk pulp from a musk deer, the color of a tamala leaf, with curled locks of hair, with a face like the moon, waving his hands to destroy darkness. He attracted their minds by making fists with his hands. He moved his hands and feet like small currents in the Yamuna. He attracted their minds by making fists with his hands. He moved his hands and feet like small currents in the Yamuna. Overcome with joy, the women murmured and were not aware of what they were doing. But one woman with a firm heart held the child's quivering hands and gazed at him. Recognizing him as a male by his characteristics, they cherished each limb. Ah, I will hold his head. I will touch his eyes. I will offer myself to his heart and will reside there. Each of the various women had their own desires, which made them look at the child. With strong desire to see the child, his mother constantly gazed at him, but could not be satisfied. Streams of nectar fell from her breasts and from her eyes. Then the women made careful preparations for giving the child a bath. On Rohini's order, one old Brahmana woman came to inform Nanda with great joy. White with a white cloth, white hair, and brilliant face, she quickly went out, throwing a smile to all the houses. When the story had progressed this far and the listeners had experienced abundant affection, Madhukanta and Snigdhakanta stood with folded hands. Madhukanta then spoke, "O Nanda, your son gives extraordinary auspiciousness to the assembly of Vraja and gives the greatest bliss to all the people of the universe." O Nanda, your son gives extraordinary auspiciousness to the assembly of Vraja and gives the greatest bliss to all the people of the universe. Nanda called the two boys towards him. When both came forward, he offered lotuses to their heads and decorated them with his ornaments, as well as satisfying the group with many gifts. "Today, please go to the guest rooms for taking your meal," Nanda said to all the others. "Every day in the morning, gather in this way." After hearing his glories, Krishna then took permission to see the cows. He asked for the lunch that his mother had sent, and asking the two young boys to join him, he left. Others departed for their residences. Hare Krishna. I would like to end with the third chapter. Thank you so much for listening.